All right, welcome back. Now, for a very long time, the Nigerian judiciary has been pummeled for not pulling its weight in the fight against corruption in this country. In fact, the general perception in Nigeria is that corruption thrives because the judiciary simply fails to do something. As we speak today, quite a number of Nigerian judges are standing trial for corruption. Well, it appears the Nigerian judiciary is now waking up from its slumber in the fight against corruption. Just weeks after the Chief Justice of Nigeria ordered judges to designate special courts to try corruption cases, the National Judicial Council, the body regulating the judiciary in this country, has now set up a panel to investigate 15 judges on various allegations bordering on corruption and abuse of office. The NJC's Director of Information, Sojioye, who disclosed this in a statement, did not give the identities of the affected judges, but he said the NJC received a letter from the Zamfara state government approving the council's recommendation for the compulsory removal of Justice Musa Anka of the Zamfara State High Court. The NJC, of course, recommended the compulsory retirement of Justice Anka for allegedly receiving a bribe of 200,000 naira from one Zubeiru Abdul Malik in order to deliver judgment in his favor. Anka was among 7 judges kicked out of office since 2011 but had escaped full sanctions due to the failure of the presidency, the police, and of course state governors to implement key recommendations of the NJC against the affected judicial officials. Now, the NJC has also set up a body, of course, to monitor, I should say the Chief Justice of the country, as a matter of fact, has set up a body now to monitor corruption cases in the various courts in this country. So it appears the judiciary is now indeed waking up from its slumber. But exactly what does this mean for the country's fight against corruption? I'm now being joined on the program by Malaki Ugumadu, who is the president of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, of course, and he's also a lawyer. And I also have another lawyer, Layinka Oladani, also joining us on the program as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Malaki, let me start with you. The NJC is now waking up, or the Nigerian judiciary appears to be now waking up from its long slumber.
Well, it could be put that way. Whoever said that will not be off point. And to a large extent, it has become a welcome development. The recent response of the Chief Justice of Nigeria as the chairman of the National Judicial Council is to operationalize his earlier directives and to render his words more performative in dealing with the exigencies of the moment. To that extent, it is gratifying, meeting the expectation of the Nigerian people. But by and large, Nigerians should know that this is a creation of the National Judicial Council and not the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
That clarification is important because whereas it was a welcome...
And some would say that is the reason why we think the judiciary is now waking up, because this is a creation of the judiciary itself.
Of the National Judicial Council. Fantastic ideas, but some of us have reservations regarding the composition. And I'm sure that when
the composition, that's the composition of that panel.
Of the panel. I'm sure that when we go into the details of the discussions, one will be able to advance.
Then let me ask you to just pause your thought there, because we're actually going to discuss the composition of that panel to find out what your misgivings are. But for you, how important is this in the country's fight against corruption?
Well, I would say it's very, very important, very, very pertinent. Reason why I say that is this. There is no country that you will not have a good or a sane judiciary, and you expect such country to triumph? How will you say that if the citizen, an average citizen of a nation, does not even believe in justice being given at any particular time, that believes that, oh, well, maybe there are some set of people that can get justice because they have the money to throw around and they can bribe anybody or bribe their way out to get justice. If we don't have a clean judiciary, if we don't have an independent judiciary that is totally separated from politics, that is totally separated from other arms of government, that is independent, if we don't have it, we can't move forward.
Malaki, let me come back to you. You have said you have misgivings about the composition of that panel. Tell me what your issues are.
My concern regarding compositions
that's really
in two or three folds. The one is that all over the world, I'm unable to find where lawyers are constituted officially by the instruments of the state to monitor judges.
But it's not just lawyers you have in that body.
I said I have reservations with the compositions. Many of those lawyers, in addition to what I have just said,
would surely have cases
also lawyers
before this,
who have cases before these judges, even before their appointment, assuming without considering that they cease to practice before them. But you already have cases of conflict of interest.
Absolutely.
Now, how and to what extent would you imagine the exercise of that discretion? Because in law, my colleague will bear me out, a judge, a trial judge, no less one handling a criminal matter, specifically with respect to financial crimes, is supposed to be litus dominus, supposed to be in full control of the court. I was in a sister organization just 2 days ago, and I was informing that the previous day I was, and I won't mention them, before the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, Lagos. And a prosecuting counsel who was representing NA, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, made frantic application to have his case adjourned to enable them put their house in order with respect to getting the witness from where they had transferred him to. My lord, the trial judge, refused that application, reminded the counsel that under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, he is obligated to adjourn possibly on a daily basis. And the further application by this counsel to have him a month after was turned down because the law also insists that the adjournment should not be more than a fortnight. Now, under the same Administration of Criminal Justice, you cannot bring such an application for adjournment for more than 3 times throughout the duration of the matter. Under the same Administration of Justice, you have constituted at the state level or even national level a committee of magistrates or judges whose responsibility is to track some of these cases and make periodic recommendations to the Chief Judge or the Attorney General of the Federation, as the case may be. So I insist that there is quite a number that is just
I think
replicated.
you have a point there.
Now, finally on the composition, I have quarreled with the conflicts of interest. I have quarreled with the novelty of this idea, which makes it far-flung and, if you like, almost not going to be achievable. Where then do you leave the exercise of discretion by a trial judge who, though banned by law, is supposed to be able to manage his or her court in the interest of justice? Where do you locate what you call the inherent jurisdictions of the court? If he realizes that he is also under trial,
He's been monitored.
he's been monitored.
But if you don't do this, what else can you do?
Look,
Because
look.
I mean,
let me tell
let's
you
face
what.
it, something
Let me
has
tell
to
you.
be done.
Let me tell you what ought to happen. You know, it is so sensitive an issue that you don't even need to be loud about it. Monitoring, tracking can be done discreetly. And it is even by far more effective. by the time a judge realizes that every Thursday, for instance, this committee of eminent judges and senior lawyers
will come and sit
will
in his court.
sit, or will have delegations hovering around his court. And we will put on the best of dresses that day. We make sure that all that will expose him doesn't happen. But if the same judge is discreetly monitored, and there are so many technologies available now to track what happens, to, in short, people have recommended things like technologies that reviews the certainty of what happens even beyond the doors. And it will be much more effective in a way that will not also undermine what you want to achieve. Finally, you know, this whole idea of creating special courts for special offenses could be productive, could also be counterproductive. In the sense that once you begin to segregate that Justice Badmosi and Justice Malaki are to superintend these courts, and you refuse to appoint the next man, you're already creating some
let me just pause you there for lack of time. Do you share these views? Because I mean, whether we like it or not, let's say you just can't make an omelette without, something has to be done.
Yeah, before
not
then,
doing anything at all, would definitely not be the way to go.
Okay, before then, let me differ a bit from the composition when it said when it was talking about even lawyers are part of the panel. And for me personally, my opinion, I don't think anything is wrong with that, and I'll tell you why. If you say lawyers should not be part of it, and we just have only judges, they are friends among themselves. They have cabals among themselves. In fact, they have cliques that says, oh, this one, no, this one is our own, like that. You still go before the same panel. My friend, you are my friend, I'm coming before you. There's a matter on ground. In fact, you will even give me expo before I come to the panel, because I know you. You are my friend, we are in the same caucus, and I'm facing the so-called panel, which was being constituted by CJ. So it could go both ways, whether as a lawyer, whether as a judge. But what is
I think everything would rest on the integrity of the members.
Thank you, of the members.
It's up to them to yes.
Thank you. However,
because we're not going to bring angels from above to come and to pretend over the affairs of men.
Let us speak the case of Justice, is it Aka, the one of the Zamfara judge. The whatever was sent to the governor, that was 2007, the recommendation from the NJC. But what happened?
The governor just simply refused to do anything. And
we got that just now, that it was carried out, it was implemented. That is from 2011 till date. During Jonathan's administration, President Jonathan's administration, we saw what happened, what transpired between Justice Ayo Salami. When NJC cleared him to say, okay, this man is clear from these allegations. Now, restate the man. Restore him. What happened? What did we see? Nothing like that happened. So, seriously, it's not about NJC just coming to form a panel, to constitute a panel, to investigate and, recommend. Even in our Supreme Court, there are judgments are being pronounced in Supreme Court and no implementation. So even by the time, even having done all the necessary things, you constitute a committee, you investigate. Oh, some are guilty. Okay, you recommend whatever that's supposed to happen to them. Okay, you lose, and then is it being followed? Look at it, 11 today.
But do you think, very quickly now, do you think, as he said, that a judge will not feel comfortable if he feels, he's trying a case and then he feels he's also under trial because there's this big brother watching him and watching all of his action?
Very well. see, it's simple. You don't have to be a judge for your conscience to tell you that morally, I am not fit and proper. On moral ground. Don't even let us go as far as, okay, you're a judge and yeah, you're facing trial. There are allegations against you. You still sit. Because that is what we see. Seriously. That's what we see in our system.
No, I'm just saying a judge now hearing a case.
Yes.
And then he knows that he is being monitored. He's hearing a corruption case. And then he knows that, look, people are watching his performance. There's this group somewhere, watching his performance.
He will sit upright. He will do the right thing. There's no how if you know somebody is watching, like, no, on that ground, I'm with him. Because there's no how you will know that, like you said, so a particular day, they are coming, there is a team is coming to watch you. Of course, you know they are coming.
So somebody has to watch somebody anyway.
But like you said, yes, somebody has to watch somebody. But don't make it pronounced. Don't tell them they are coming. This is what you can have your informants in there. So you can have in-house informants that will be
discreetly.
Yes,
discreetly. That's the point I'm making, Mr. DG. Look,
but very quickly now,
yes,
because we have to wrap up.
So, I'm not discountenancing the idea. We have praised the idea. We have welcomed it. I am saying that we could achieve precisely the same objective
without making too much
noise. And without having certain people right there. If you're quarreling with the presence of lawyers and sitting judges, our recommendation would have been that, look, in this country, we have legions of retired justices whose integrity have been subjected to tests and they scale through. One of which is the Salami himself. I mean, history will be kind to such men who did not succumb in the face of mammoth pressure. And he has shown to be
so probably you're saying this body or the
ought to be constituted by retired judges whose integrity have been proven and established. At that point, you are referring to a committee of men
but you still
of
have
character.
retired judges there.
Of course, no. Essentially, many of them are serving. Many of them are serving. Chief judge of the chief judge of the sitting justices of respective state high courts, together with very senior lawyers, and so on and so forth. And we've made our point. That look. If you want to maximize and leverage on the situation you find yourself, you need not have certain people right there. You could do better if you... In short, Salami himself, knowing who he is, should be able to cry out, because it is yet another test of his capacity and integrity as a man with a strong strength of character to be able to discharge. Because, let's face it, the country is aware that the issue of corruption has become the most dangerous. At the level of the executive, you have so many agencies, you have government institutions, you even have the presidential, the one Professor Sage is heading, Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption, and so on and so forth. Look, save and until we pull together with the right, composition of men who will be able to chart this course and nip this in the bud, you probably will just be creating job for the boys.
Well, we just hope this is not job for the boys.
Sorry.
Very quickly, because I have just less than a minute.
Yeah, I think we need to look at this. Some of the petitions that were written against some of these judges were thrown out. Why? Because the chief judge said some of the judges that allegations were made against are retired. They are no longer in the service of NJC, meaning they are no longer our employers. So we could not do anything. The same thing may apply to us now bringing retired judges.
That argument will not fly sufficiently. The reason I say that is that, look, first and foremost, it is
judges whose integrity can be proven.
It is tried in law that there is no time limitation with respect to criminal offenses. So if those offenses or allegations border on criminal allegation, it can be handled at any time. In any case, what the NGS does is to find out what happened. The real prosecution are done by law enforcement agencies that are not banned by any time.
True.
Okay.
So finally, on my point, I would insist that, look, we're even discussing this because the Nigerian people have risen to the occasion. The Nigerian people are alive to their responsibility. And I am admonishing the Nigerian people to remain alive to their responsibility because vigilance, eternal vigilance has become the price we have to pay for the freedom we have rescued.
And my last take, there must be continuity in this race if we have to get somewhere.
But I think there's a strong point there about the composition of that panel. Let's just wait and see what happens. But it's better to do something than not do anything at all. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Well, that's it on the program. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. Just go to our website at tv360nigeria.com. You'll see this program and lots more there. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. The address is youtube.com/TV360Nigeria. And, of course, you can join us on Google Plus at TV360Nigeria, or just like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360online. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360Nigeria. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.